Dobry day everybody, my name is Hideout. Some while ago I bought this toy pistol. This is a golden Deagle. I bought it for $5. It has a shell ejecting feature. These are the shells and these are the projectiles. And this is the Deagle itself. Looks pretty nice, but obviously it's not the same size as the real Deagle. It's about half as big. Now, why did I want to buy this? Well, first of all, we can all agree that it looks pretty nice. If you want to use this as a prop, it definitely won't let you down. Second of all, this is actually the main reason why I wanted to buy this, is because it promised quite a lot with all the features, namely shell ejection, cosmetic recoil, because you don't really feel any actual recoil, as well as being able to lock back, kinda, but only when the mag is empty. On top of that, it's also semi-automatic. You don't need any batteries, you don't need to rack the slide every time you want to shoot. That's why it seemed so appealing to me. But for $5, it's clearly too good to be true. To begin with, you cannot rack the slide to chamber the first round, otherwise you'll break it. It was just designed this way. I guess this is the only aspect where this toy lacks realism. Furthermore, it jams quite a lot. It jammed half the time I spent shooting it. To be frank, it wouldn't bother me that much if the projectiles actually escaped out of the shells, but alas, they don't. Very often, like almost always, the projectile simply ends up getting stuck in the shell and they escape out of the barrel together along with the next bullet that actually managed to separate from the shell, and it looks pretty lackluster. Since it's only $5, the material it's made out of is very thin and very fragile, but it's to be expected. Some other things that I'm not very pleased with are the iron sights. They are basically non-existent. I mean, you don't really need them for a toy that is this underpowered. I mean, seriously, it's FPS is lower than a standard Nerf gun. But I would really appreciate if the front sight was a little bit bigger. Besides, there are a few grammar mistakes in the engravings, namely Minneapolis is written like Minneapolis and then is. 50 AE, which is the caliber, 50 is written as so, and pistol, the letter I was replaced by L for some reason. Pretty weird. What I do appreciate is that there are quite a few spare projectiles because they are indeed very small. But I don't really understand why there are only 6 shells instead of the traditional 7. I guess the reason why the projectiles fail to escape is because of the nature of these shells. As you can see, they have a tiny spring inside of them and they are triggered. The spring is triggered by pushing this button. I guess this button is pushed by the primer inside of the pistol or something. But pretty often it just doesn't work. Well, this time it worked, thankfully, but who knows? Once we shoot it out of the pistol, then we'll see. Because I think that the problem is that I've just realized that the hammer is also fake, as well as the ambidextrous safety. I mean, I knew this before, I just forgot to mention this. Yeah, I digress. So that there simply isn't enough power for the mechanism within this pistol to push this button. That's why you can't guarantee that the projectile and the shell will always separate. It would have been much easier if the shell didn't perform any other roles apart from being the bullet casing, but in reality it's a separate complex mechanism that is made out of tiny components, and if you were to lose at least one, the whole shell would be rendered useless. I would say that you should definitely avoid these. Apart from that, it says here on the box that it's a soft bullet gun, and especially here it says that the pellets are made out of EVA sponge, while it's obviously hard plastic. That's quite an error. So far this toy has received tons of criticism from me personally, but I think it's fair. The reason why I'm dissecting it is because I don't want you to be left disappointed after you order it from some website and then you finally receive it in the mail. You open it and realize that it's not exactly as top-notch as the TikToks that received millions of views advertising this toy made it look like. Because this is exactly what happened to me, I'm gonna be honest. Let's say something more positive. On the other hand, $5 is not that much of a loss. I now have a great prop, and considering that I bought this 7 months ago and it still hasn't broken on me, excuse me, so far so good. Let's finally see it in action. Right, I'll load the bullets into the mag first. Now we're ready. This is how it performs. And we already have a jam. Successful shot. One more successful shot. Huh, it seems to perform much better now. Another successful shot. And yeah, that's it. Oh no, actually 2 bullets didn't escape. Okay, let me... Okay, I'll find it later. Let's test it once more. It always jams on the first shot. Successful. 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 Let's see the results. Maybe it was 2 bullets that didn't escape out of the shell once again. Yeah, it actually was that way. How about one more test in third person? Successful shot. Very good. Oh, it jammed and it also broke into pieces. Success. Success. Pretty good. And like I said, if you insert an empty mag, yeah, it will log back. It wasn't exactly empty, I guess. Here's a detailed look at what the casing is made out of. This is the outer side. This is the inner side with this hammer and spring. And this is the little button. And it seems like it broke off, but it actually didn't. Thankfully, you can assemble it and it'll work just fine. So put the button here and then insert it into the outer casing along with the hammer, and here we go. Let's do it one last time. Again. Ooh, successful shot, but like I said, one bullet escaped and then the other bullet didn't separate from the shell. So 3 shots left. Broke into pieces once again. Okay, so I assume there were basically 3 successful shots and 3 failures, 50-50. By the way, despite being very low powered, it can still pinch you just a tad bit if you shoot it point blank at your hand. In the end, as you could see, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I think the final rating is 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think it pretty much deserves it. What are your thoughts on this pistol? Leave a comment down below. And thank you for watching until the very end. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Slowly.